I wish people could understand that when they're going after some goal or some dream or some career or whatever it is that you're after, that so long as you're actually aiming up for you and for the betterment of the world, whatever's supposed to happen will happen. You have this idea that because you set a goal, by not doing X, Y, and Z that you had written down in your magic journal, means that now life isn't the way it was supposed to be. And that's total bullshit. Yeah. If somebody dies in a car crash, that's the way it was supposed to be. And the reason I know that's a fact is because it happened. I don't care what you believe. If it happened, it was supposed to be, because by definition, supposed to be is only relative to the future. If you were to say something was supposed to be some way, then it has to be about the future. But if it is about the past, then that's wrong. Because if it didn't happen exactly the way it happened, it wasn't supposed to be. Three, 2, 1, and we are live.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Oh, my God.
That's the one.
Yeah, right? Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to episode number 21 of the Jason Scalora Show. Back again with Kirsten Raynock.
Hey.
Yay! Woo!
I thought you were going to do the corny applause, and I was going to be like, corny applause. Ha, 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 ha,
ha. Oh, that's not it. Wait.
That one.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, Kirsten and I haven't really chatted a whole lot since then. Pause.
Probably.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Quick chat. Not a lot of chatting.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So, what's new? What's new and exciting? You don't have to share everything, but
what?
Any new perspectives? You don't have to go into the nitty-gritty of whatever's going on, but
yeah, if you know you want something, go after it. If you know something isn't right for you, change it. And if it's going to be hard to do so, just do it. That would be my little synopsis.
Sounds a little cliche, but okay. So how do you get to the
cliche?
Right, a little cliche. But how do you get to the place of knowing? Of like, now you're at the spot where you realize and you're consciously admitting it to yourself. Because I feel like a lot of people go throughout life with this mindset of like, I just don't have the time to do X. I just don't have enough energy to do this.
Or you don't want to be inconvenienced.
I work too much. I have this and this and this.
Yeah.
Where do you get past the excuses? Where do you get to the place of like full self-awareness, full truthfulness and honesty within yourself?
Well, I feel like you have to like gain that sense of self over a period of time. And then once you're already in a place where you're doing, habits that are helping you be more successful in the area of self-improvement, then you get to a place where you kind of just start to realize that if something's not fulfilling you deep down inside, if you have anxiety about it, you know that you want more and you're settling for something, then you can't ignore that. Right. You know you have to tackle it. So I think that if you're already on a path like that, then it's like and you know it's going to be hard, or it might be obnoxious or difficult, or it might be you have to go out of your way to like disalign your current routine in order to make a change, but you have to do it to better yourself.
Right. But then, okay, so how do you get to that point of like actually doing it though?
You just do it. You just do it.
Okay.
You have to like leave a certain part of you behind and just continue.
Right, but how do you get to the point? Because like there's plenty of people that know they need to leave a part of them behind. How do you get to the point of actually executing?
I don't see. This is where like for me, like I find it easy for me to just make decisions.
Right.
like about what I need to do, but I don't. For me, it's difficult to understand why people don't.
Right. That I'm the same exact way.
Like, so I don't. It's hard for me to answer
Right.
that question. Like, it's
Yeah.
just like I think we're very similar in that way. Like, once
Yeah.
you know and you're like, that's the higher path. Like, you can't not take it.
Right.
But what you're asking is, how do you know that that's the higher path?
Sort of.
then how do
That's the
you
first
make-
question.
And then how do you make the jump to actually like tackling
Right.
that problem?
It's almost like
And I feel like there's a bunch of ways to answer it. Like, maybe it's the fact that
my answer is faith.
people are,
Because if you
That's
jump,
true,
if
too.
you jump and you don't know where you're gonna land, that's called faith.
that is, yeah, 100%.
So to me, I don't know. But it's like, how do you get faith? Like, I just want to, how?
I know you
I
asked
wanna-
me this before. And
I know,
it's
but
just-
like, I do this with everybody, with everything, because I just want to fully exhaust down to the point of like, that's where it stops.
Yeah.
That's where the drip stops.
yeah,
Because like, how do you know this? Okay, once you're aware, how do you get yourself to actually do it? Okay, you have to have
Yeah.
faith, but how do you get faith? Like, how do you, until it's like, okay, tangibly, this is step one.
this is something.
And then here are the rest. Because I don't know.
I know.
Because for
I
me-
don't know that I do.
Where
either.
does it stop after faith? I don't know. Like, what is the next step after that? Before that, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and you have to put away your fear
I just have faith. That's where, I mean, a part of me thinks
of
that,
the unknown. I feel
right.
like
But how do you do that? Gradual exposure. That's what a
yeah.
classical psychologist
I
would
feel
say.
like it comes too when you pay attention to like things that are going on around you.
Yeah.
Like when you start to diagnose like your day,
Mm.
like, and you're like, and we'll take it to like a little cliche place of
Yeah.
like, oh, well, there must be a reason I passed a yellow car on the road today and a bird
Mm.
chirped at the same time. Like, maybe not that. That might be a little extreme of an example, but I feel like when you get into the habit of like analyzing like the signs around
Right.
you and then starting to like create that like positive mindset in your head,
That
like
makes sense.
everything around me is working for me.
Right.
Everything around me is happening for me. So
So
how
it's-
is this happening for me?
Yeah.
And that must mean that this inconvenience is happening for me to tackle because it will be good for me.
Right.
Like,
So a shift in your perspective.
yeah,
Okay. So for me, immediately what my brain goes to is like, I don't know how it was tangibly when I was raised. I know a lot of this came from my dad, where he just instilled in me of like, whatever the fuck it is that you want to do, you can do it.
Yeah.
Like anything.
Yeah.
Anything. And so it always, like, I feel like that's probably where my faith comes from. Because when you're a child, your brain is just this completely plastic, meaning like a sponge. You just absorb everything,
yeah,
every viewpoint, every perspective, every philosophy on life, especially your political views, your mental health views, your happiness. Like all of these things are pretty much just absorbed from the repetition of thoughts, beliefs, and ideas through the people that are raising you or are the biggest influences on your life, whoever those people are.
right.
And so when those people are people that believe in you and believe in themselves and not necessarily saying the words, I believe in you, I think you can do this, but treating you in a way
Right.
where they know you can do this, treating you in a way where you can do anything. Damn, this actually makes sense. When they treat you in that way and when you're raised in that way, then your brain shifts to the perspective of, I can do anything, because your brain is so spongy. It's so like whatever the world is, like from your influences, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So I grew up personally with that mindset of I can do anything. I always believed that.
Yeah.
Like I was never the best athlete, the best looking, the smartest in the room, but I just always believed that I could do anything that it is that I wanted to do. And so I really think that makes sense to me. But, like, here's a good example.
Yeah.
When I was younger, my dad had probably like 6, 7 years old, young, like first grader. And my dad had the best camera on the market. He spent a lot of money on this very, very expensive camera for photography. Bought a nice lens, bought everything. And then what he would let me and my sister do, I was 7, my sister was 8, maybe 6 and 7. He would let us use the camera. People flipped out about that shit. He
Yeah.
tells stories all the time. He's like, we would go out in public, we go to the beach, or we go, wherever to take some photos, and we'd let you guys hold the camera. And people would be like, oh my God, you're letting the kids use the camera. I could never let the kids use the camera. Doesn't really mean much to you then.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But then you look forward and realize,
Yeah.
okay, Jason is the type of kid that believes in himself more than anybody else. Why is that? Part of it's genetics, but the other part is
Yep.
that's what my parents instilled in me from day one.
Yeah.
I grew up with those beliefs. I don't have this battle of
Yeah.
working on this mental shift to go from somebody who's a coward to now believing in myself and believing that I could do whatever the fuck it is that I want to do.
Right.
Right? To an extent, obviously. There's
I feel
a
like
part
I
of
can
it.
relate to that.
Yeah.
I feel like my parents always told me I could do stuff like 100% too. Like I vaguely remember my mom always being like, can't isn't a word, or you can't use the phrase can't like, because you always can. Another big one with them was like when I would like fall down. You're a little kid. You're just like falling all over the place, or like you trip and you fall on your bike, or stupid stuff would happen. Like,
so weird.
My parents would just be like, "You're fine," and I would be like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like, instead of letting me be like associating, like other kids, like you associate the fact like that you're hurt, and you're like, your parents come running over and they're like, "Oh my God, what happened? Are you okay?" And then the kid starts crying. And then the kid's like, "Oh, I'm bleeding. That's supposed to be bad." So like, I feel like I can relate in that type of way.
Makes a lot of sense.
Like, so when things that are of a struggle that are happening, like, I'm fine.
Yeah. So, okay. So to me, this is really when my brain kind of connects is like the way that my dad, here's a good example. The way that my dad instilled faith in me growing up was he let me fall off my bike when I was learning how to ride.
Yeah.
Because he didn't say, "I believe in you. You should believe in yourself. This is me teaching you how to have faith."
Yeah.
This was him saying, "I'm not going to pick you up off the ground because I have faith you can do it yourself."
Exactly.
That's an act of "I believe in you." Now, I didn't know it at the time, but the repetition of him doing things like that, saying things like that, treating me like that, made me believe in me because he treated me like he believed in me because he did.
Right.
And now I believe in myself because that was the sponge of my brain absorbing that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense. And for me too, like, even I can think of like, I don't want to take my training wheels off. Like, you're fine. You can do it.
Right.
Like, let's go. If you fall, you have all this stuff on you, like decked out, head to toe, like all like the cards and the braces and stuff. And you're just like walking around like, I just need to ride my bike with 2 wheels.
That's so funny. That's really funny.
And you would go and you would do it, even if you would fall or whatever the circumstance was. For me, I think of like roller coasters. My parents made me go on roller coasters from like when I was small. And when I was small, I was fearless because I think honestly, a lot of us are born with very little fear.
You are born with fear.
It's just the influence that like comes upon you. So I wasn't scared of anything when I was little. So I was like, I'm down, let's go. But other kids were like, that don't like roller coasters, which not everybody likes roller coasters, but
it's a good example.
It's a good example. Other kids are like, "Oh my God, I could never go on that. My mom told me I shouldn't go yet, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go now." And then they're like, "I love this.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
go
funny.
on the other one."
My
and
dad,
it's like, you're not really scared of it, but because like, it's like a scary thing, like you think about it in your head and you're like, so I feel like your influence changes the way you are willing to tackle problems in your life.
That's how my parents were. This is the funniest thing. There's 2 examples that come to mind. They're kind of funny. One, I had the sex alphabet when I was in kindergarten. That's the swear alphabet when I was in kindergarten. I learned all the swears. I don't know why. It was ridiculous to me.
I knew all the swears too.
That and
oh my God.
I knew what sex was. I knew all like funny, stupid shit like anal and like sex and like oral sex.
Yeah, you would be
and,
that
like,
kid that was like making jokes that other people don't understand,
like,
and then they had to go home and ask their parents about stuff.
Right. But that was the obnoxious side of me. But my dad instilled in me, and my mom instilled in me of like, okay, like we're like them saying those kinds of things to me. My parents instilled in me of like, we trust you to know this information.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, that's an act of trust. It's so hard to tangibly kind of like tell you like the repetition of these kinds of things, no matter how big or small, when you have a parent that instills trust in you, that treats you like they trust you with the sharp knife, with the expensive camera, with knowing the dirty words. Yeah. That's when you grow up.
Sharp knife is a good example.
That's when you grow up trusting yourself. Yeah. And not for nothing, you're also going to be the type of person, you're going to be the type of adult that trusts themselves with a knife, because that's what your parents instilled in you when your brain was forming the most. Yeah. But the way, this is what I wanted to get around to that I just kind of thought about is like, if you don't trust yourself, the best way to gain that confidence is through repetition of ideas. If you don't have self-confidence in yourself, the way to gain that confidence is through repetition. Of information.
Exactly what you were saying.
Whether it's a book, a podcast, a video, just consistently consuming and learning, as corny as it sounds, information on how to become self-confident.
It becomes a belief system within you.
Right.
It's just like if you were to practice a religion and you practice that religion once a week.
Right.
Twice a week, 3 times a week, however, or any habit that you're doing, it becomes a part of your system. I was going to say too, I feel like for people that don't necessarily automatically go towards let's tackle the problem or the inconvenience or whatever's going on in their life that they know would make their lives better because it's difficult and hard. You just have to start small, like with anything else. Like
Right.
you say, okay, this is a minor inconvenience and it's not really going to be that hard. Let me make my life better in this small way and then get over the small fear or challenge and then have more confidence to tackle a larger fear or challenge.
Right. But the ultimate, like taking that a step further.
Because it's just realizing.
Right. Because people
can do
know
it.
that. People know that. Like it's obvious that if you want to go to the gym 7 days a week, you have to go to the gym for 6 months of only going once or twice a week. And then you can build on it. Like
sometimes
for the average Joe.
Sometimes I'm like, just go. Just do it. Just
Right.
do it every day.
Maybe you're the type of person that can do that.
Yeah.
Most people can't because you're a human being, and adjusting from 0 to 100 doesn't work. But you know that you can go. So this is an example. If you want to start going to the gym 7 days a week, the only realistic way to do that for the average person is not to start going 7 days a week. It's to go once a week for a couple months, then twice, then maybe 4, and then maybe 7. But that's going to take you a year to get there. But the problem doesn't lie in the tactics. The problem lies within your mindset. Because that's your ego telling you, I'm too good to start at 1 day a week. The problem isn't, I don't know how to do it. The problem is your ego thinks that you're too good to do that. Or your ego's telling you, I'm too afraid to tell people when they ask the question, how often do you go to the gym? I noticed you started to go 1 day a week. That answer is dreading you in your mind to whoever. And the way to overcome that is to go up to those people and tell them to go fuck themselves.
How often do you go to the gym a week?
Right.
Like, and what do you do while you're there? I mean, it doesn't.
And not for nothing, if what's going to help you get through that is going to be reminding yourself that they're not going to be fucking laughing at me for going 1 day a week a year from now when I'm in phenomenal shape and going 7 days a week. If that's what you have to do to fucking get yourself there, do it.
Right.
But the real reason why you can't go to the gym is not because you're not good at setting New Year's resolutions. It's not because you know, or whatever the fuck your stupid reason is. The reason is because your ego's too big to tell you to start small.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when people ask you what you're doing, you end up like, oh, I'm going to the gym 1 day a week just to start. And you feel that way instead of just being like, this is what I'm doing.
Right. It's the
and
same
I'm
thing
doing
with,
this because I want to be consistent. If you create a plan, a consistency plan, or just like a schedule of any kind that you want to stick to, just make it so it's feasible for your lifestyle at that point.
Right.
And don't be naive about it. Don't be jumping into something that you can't handle right away. And then you won't be disappointed and think that you can't.
Too many people try to make plans for their life in a motivated state.
Yeah.
Give yourself that plan of working out when you're feeling average or below average.
Yeah.
Because in that state of mind, you'll understand the realistic aspect of how you're going to be.
Right.
Because when it's 3 a.m. and you're laying there in bed thinking, it's time to change my life. It's time. It's the day. Tomorrow's the
I'm
day.
waking up in an hour.
Yeah,
I'm going to go run 5 miles.
Yeah, and then after 5 miles, I'm going to hit the gym and eat 100% healthy.
I love when people are like, all of a sudden they want to lose weight, and the first thing they say is, I'm going to run every day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't run.
Yeah.
You don't need to run either because you're going to hate it.
Yeah.
I could tell. And like,
yeah.
Do something different. Like, you don't need to run. Like, just general example.
Slow it down.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, so you're going to run 5 miles every single day, 5 days a week. So really, you're going to be able to do that? You're going to run 2 days in a row, and the third day you're going to be like, I can't do this. And then you're not going to do it for another month when you're like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. Until that motivated clock resets. And if you're the type of person that's relying on the motivated clock, you're fat.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
And it's not the world's fault. It's not politicians' fault. It's not society's fault. It's your fucking fault.
Oh, man.
But the more you blame and play games and point fingers instead of thumbs, that's the more longer you're going to be in the place that you don't want to be in because you're not actually doing the work that's necessary to get to where the fuck you want to go.
And I think a lot of it, too, is that just the way our society is and its influence on everybody.
Right.
I just really think that,
100%.
like, half the time, 70% of people's lack of motivation comes from the fact that they have to do stuff because of the way
Right.
that our structure is
Right.
to live. And they're not willing to not necessarily, it's not that they're not necessarily willing to
Right.
do things
Yeah.
that are going to make their
That
lives
makes
better.
sense.
It's just that they're not willing to deviate from the group, what the group of people
That's
is
what I was
doing,
gonna
and then
say.
have to explain themselves to other people.
Agreed,
And then
agreed.
it's hard to do that. Like, it's hard to be like,
It's an ego problem. It's an ego problem.
I can't go out tonight because I need to do this for myself.
Right.
And come out for drinks with us. I get it all the time. You're not going to come out. You're not going to come out. Like, I went out to the Arch last weekend for like the
Fucking
first
Arch.
time. And the week before that, Joey was like, you're never there. I never see you there. I was like, yeah, you'll hardly ever see me there. And then like the next week, they're like, you're not going to come. You're not going to come. And they're like, really? Like, I thought you were like in now. Like, no, I'm not in. It's just like a one-time thing. Like right now.
You'll go when you feel like going.
Yeah. But like, I have the discipline to know that I will be a happier person deviating from society's concept and structure in that situation. Restaurant culture, go get a drink after your shift, like have one at the bar, like every
I feel
shift.
like that's a step to
like-
get you to be the complete miserable typical restaurant person.
Yeah.
You go to the bar
And
after
you know
get
what
off
though,
your shift.
I have to say, I don't think the people that I work with are miserable, but most restaurants, the people are miserable. I'm very blessed to work with the people in particular in restaurant culture that I work with, but it's still restaurant culture to go get a cocktail after your shift.
Right. It's crazy. Somebody's going to live a miserable life because they don't want to be judged by the people on their Instagram. So they get a car that's $20,000 more.
Yeah.
So they lock themselves into a career that pays a little bit more, then a career that would bring them joy and happiness and enough free time for them to be in the softball team and spend enough time with their family and have more fun at work and all of these things because they're afraid of the judgment, because of a car, because of a house, because of a job. For fucking what? For what?
Because that's what we're told to care about, and people literally just absorb it. Like but I think that we also, like, people will resort back to that idea of life because it scares them to think outside the box. Like, I think it's just an easier path, even though they don't realize that it's so unfulfilling that it makes it a harder path.
Yeah.
Like, I think if people could realize that it's actually easier to do the hard things because of how fulfilling it is, they would more often do things that were difficult that bettered their lives. But I think because it's more convenient to slip into a 9-to-5 lifestyle and mindset, like, rather than look deeper into their emotions and realize that they care about something else, like, and want to make time for that, and then have to work less hours and make less money and not have the fancy car in order to pursue their passion.
Society has done a real shit job in helping people understand what success means.
And I think I agree. And I think it's coming around in a way. Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that are like awakened to the fact that things don't have to be the way that they
That's
are.
True. That's
but
true.
then you
But,
get
like,
the people that
for
just
me,
want to be that way.
right.
Like, it just works for them.
I mean, like, as a college student, when I talk about people and as a college student, when I talk to people about what they're picking as a major, the only conversation is money.
I know.
Like, I would go to say 90% of people, when I ask them why they're getting the major that they're getting, is because they're too afraid to pursue what they want to pursue because they'd rather get a bigger paycheck with a safer and secure job.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's, for me, it's like,
I don't.
why have we gotten to a point when we're so advanced in societal norms to where we're reverting back to making our lives miserable, even though we have more than enough to be as happy as we possibly could be with the bare minimum?
I know. It's wild. It's like we just constantly want more. And we're not, I think, like, a lot of times it's just really comes from appreciating what you have. And I think that a lot of times people have so little because they want so much.
Right.
And I think that the way the energy with that works is because you're not already appreciative of what you have around you, that you're not able to manifest better things because you don't appreciate them. Like, you don't have gratitude for all that's been given to you already. So why would you need more? Why would you be given more? How does that make any sense? And if you're not utilizing what you have already for a greater purpose, why would you be given more? And that also comes down to having to have the belief of the universe will give you what you attract in your own energy.
Well, how do you
will give back to you what you're putting out?
How do you develop that belief?
I don't know how you develop that belief. I feel like you just like
I don't know.
just like a group of people that just think that. No.
It always like I don't know. Cause like for me,
go ahead. If I make a change about something and I'm like, okay, it's because I want to attract this type of thing in my life.
Yeah.
I think you have to be open to how it's going to manifest. A lot of times it's not what you think. And I think that makes people mad. Like, but they don't realize like something has walked into their lives that is actually the answer to the question that they wanted to receive.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. But I wanted to say more about that. I'm trying to process. Like I have something else to say, but
it's just like I wish people could understand that when they're going after some goal or some dream or some career or whatever it is that you're after, that so long as you're actually aiming up for you and for the betterment of the world, whatever's supposed to happen will happen.
Yeah.
You have this idea that
that's essentially
because you set a goal by not doing X, Y, and Z that you had written down in your magic journal.
Yeah.
Means that now life isn't the way it was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's total bullshit. Yeah. If somebody dies in a car crash, that's the way it was supposed to be. And the reason I know that's a fact is because it happened.
But
you can't say...
What if somebody doesn't believe that whatever happens?
I don't care what you believe. If it happened, it was supposed to be. Because by definition, supposed to be is only relative to the future. So if you were to say something was supposed to be some way, then it has to be about the future. But if it is about the past, then that's wrong. Because if it didn't happen exactly the way it happened, it wasn't supposed to be. Like it sounds like.
Hey, I'm with you. I think
I love when people say that.
Every single little thing happens because it's supposed to happen. You mean
like that was supposed to happen, right? If you were to wake up this morning like, if anyone throws a water bottle at me, that's not how it's supposed to be, then you'd be fucking wrong because it happened because it was supposed to happen.
Right down to the minute stuff.
Everything. Yep. I love it when people tell me, oh, he was just supposed to be my boyfriend. He was the one. He was supposed to be like mine. And it didn't work out.
No.
Right.
Well, no.
And I'm like, listen, if you were so madly in love with somebody and you had an amazing relationship and it ended, by definition, you were not supposed to be with them. Yep. Because if you were supposed to be with them, you'd be with
and that person would want to be with you too.
It's that simple.
So you wouldn't be in that circumstance.
And not for nothing, who in their right mind wants to be in a relationship with somebody that doesn't want them?
I don't know.
The next thing I wanted to talk about, it's sort of like a transition of when we were talking about habits, was what I was saying earlier. Was like, when people come to you with excuses, like my favorite excuse is when people are like, Jay, I really want to go to the gym, but I just don't have the time. I just don't have the energy.
I can't even. I've lived so many years, I feel like, listening to that statement that I just, when people say that to me, I just don't know. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. I don't, like, you do. Yeah. There's no way that you don't. If you really wanted to go, you would go. And that's with anything in life.
Right. And
you would go. If you really wanted to, you would find time. You would just have to make a sacrifice. And I think that's what the issue is. People don't want to sacrifice other things in order to create new habits.
Like their laziness.
Yeah. Or even playing a video game.
Right. Literally.
Something that brings them joy. And they'll justify it. They'll be like, but I like it. But I love it. It makes me happy.
It's the whole pain in the short term versus pain in the long term.
Makes you happy? Self-love. You know how you get self-love? By working on yourself.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
It's really cut and dry. But like, I love when people tell me like, Jay, I just don't have enough time for the gym. And it's like, okay, listen, if you're not going to go to the gym, that's fine. I don't really care about that. Yeah. What I care about is stop lying to yourself and stop lying to me.
I don't just say I don't want to go to the gym.
Right. That's what I try to tell people. It's like, listen, at least empower yourself to make the change, even if you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear you saying, I don't have the time to go to the gym because you just don't want to go. Mm-hmm. If you're just not going to go because you're too lazy and don't want to wake up an hour earlier or whatever your reason is, that's fine. But if you're telling me that excuse and I know even a lick of information about you, I'm not going to tell you you should work out or you're a lazy piece of shit, but I will tell you, at least don't lie to me and yourself. No, I have to work at 5 every day and then I have to let the cat out and this and this. I'm like, listen, dude. Listen, dude. I'm like, if I had a GoPro on your head all day.
I bet you could find time for that person to go to the gym.
I was like, even if it's 10 minutes here, half an hour here, 20 minutes here, I'm like, if there was a GoPro on you following you all day, would you say the same thing to my face if I watched those 24 hours? And the answer is 100% no, because they know that there's plenty of time for them to do it, even if they're really fucking busy. You have an hour. You have a half hour.
I like that mindset with like health and food and what you're eating. Not necessarily just fitness, but like when people are like, well, if I'm eating the way you told me to and nothing's happening, and I'm like, then you're not eating the way that I told you to. There's literally
100%.
There's literally no way.
100%.
There is no way that you have this special body type or new disease that makes you not be able to digest carbohydrates, aka gluten-free, which is different. But like something else like that is out there these days where people have an excuse for why a balanced diet isn't like a thing. Yeah. Like they all want to be on a diet plan and like have this and do that. It's it's really just pretty simple. Just eat right.
Yeah. My favorite is when people will give me some excuse for some bullshit thing of why they're not working out, why they're not eating healthy, why they don't have time to meditate or energy to do X, Y, or Z. And I say, hey, okay, that's fine. Show me your screen time on your phone.
Yeah.
Immediately, everyone laughs. It's always the reaction. And the reason is because they know it's a load of fucking bullshit. But my point is I don't care if you're bullshitting.
Just be honest with yourself.
Just be honest with yourself about the reality of what's going on.
Because
don't
even
say you don't
doing
have the
that
time.
Is setting you up mentally for a possible change in the future. Because when you realize that you're not being truthful and the fact that you have time to do things for yourself, then when you really want to do it, you're going to be like, okay, I need to. This is my allotted time because this is when I know that I do something unproductive.
Right. Dude, enter a room, be conscious, and hear people talking about the reasons why they don't go to the gym. You'll see everyone's fake reactions and everyone's bullshit comments on why they can't go to.
I know.
That's 100%. Like, if you're watching people and think about, look at their facial expressions, look at the way they're talking, how they're saying it, their pauses, whether they're looking at the ground or looking you in the eyes.
Yeah, the ground.
You know for sure. Well, dude, this is just like, it's crazy. I'm a full-time student. Shut up. Shut up. You're lying, and that's fine that you don't want to go. Again, I don't care that you don't want to go. I just care that you're telling the truth about the reality of your situation. Because the second you start being honest with yourself and with everybody else on why or why not you're doing certain things that are good or bad for your life, that's when you'll empower yourself to do those things.
Exactly. It's
regardless
like
if you do them or not.
It's just like once you're aware of it, you can go from there.
Right. And people don't like that because the psychological reasoning for it is once you're honest with yourself, you give yourself the gift of feeling pain of being inadequate.
Yeah. I feel like I, especially lately, have just been like the pure example of that. Like, things exist. You're going to let them linger and you're not going to want to tackle a problem. And it's just going to sit there, and it's going to sit there, and it's going to sit there. And then all of a sudden, you can't ignore the fact that it exists anymore. And you just go and you do it.
It's like, dude, I mean, think about it this way. If you're going to exercise or not exercise, either way, there is going to be X amount of pain in your life, whether you do it or don't. You can either feel the pain when you're 6 years old, can't play with your kids because you're obese, are the granddad that people always laugh at because of how fat you are, have cancer, diabetes, live a shitty quality of life, have no energy to do the things you love to do and wanted to do after retirement, or whatever it is that is going to be some shitstorm if you don't exercise, or feel the pain of exercising consistently every day.
Yeah.
Either way, you're fucked. I wish it wasn't that way.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't. If there was a pill, we'd all take it.
Yeah, exactly. I was
doesn't-
thinking about this earlier.
It doesn't exist.
It just comes down to simplicity of the fact that if it were easy, everybody would do it. And it's just not. If it were easy, everybody would do it. It's that simple.
It's really that fucking simple.
And if it's something that you know you want, but your immediate reaction is, oh, it's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Like, do it. That is like one way somebody could like improve their life. Screw meditating, screw working out, screw fitness, screw writing affirmations down, screw all of it. If you have something that you want to do and your immediate reaction is to just be like, oh, that's going to be a little difficult. I'm going to have to do all this shit and everyone's going to think all this crap about me. Do that thing.
Right.
Start doing those things.
Yeah. Because then you're going to get comfortable in that discomfort. And it sounds so cliche, but the reason why it's cliche is because it's fucking true.
Yeah, it's true. And I'm a pure example of that. And
Right.
I feel like I'm very aware. Like once I realize something, I'm like, oh, I have to freaking tackle this.
Right.
And it's
It's
so
like
annoying. And it's
people
like,
think-
you know that I know I have to tackle it. And you're just like, you're going to have to do something about that. I'm like, yeah, I
People
know.
think that successful people that are healthy and live fulfilled and happy lives wake up in the morning with some fucking zest.
I know. I
Like
know.
they think like I love when I tell people like I don't do this this year, but like last year I woke up at 4 a.m. pretty much every single day to work out because I didn't have any other time besides waking up at 4 a.m. and going to bed at 9.
Yeah.
And people looked at me like, that's crazy. How do you have the motivation? I'm like, you think I don't wake up feeling like,
yeah,
fuck?
I don't want to do this.
I
There's
feel like
so many
that
days where I go to the
most
gym and I'm like,
days.
I don't want to do this right now, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it because I'm going to feel happy after I do it and be like, haha, I kicked my own ass. Like,
Right.
I needed it.
I hate when people put successful, fulfilled, and happy people on a pedestal
Yeah.
because they don't wake up feeling like fucking sunshine and rainbows.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. The pillow's soft. The sheets are comfortable. The floor is cold. I don't want to get up at 4 a.m. either.
Or they'll mock the people that do that. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, what do you have to be so mad about? Blah, 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 blah. Like,
That's
you
a
do
nice
this
escape.
every day.
That's a nice escape.
You're just saying that because you don't.
Yeah.
You like self-improvement. That's not, not really. You don't. Obviously.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
What's so bad about that?
Yeah.
I'm generally in a way better mood than you are.
Right. That's what.
Like, I'm generally at peace with myself.
Yeah.
Even when I have a problem, like,
Yeah.
I know that I have a problem because I'm growing, not because I just hate what's going on in my life.
Yeah. If you're the type of person that makes fun of self-improvement, I mean, I have no words.
Yeah, it's just, it can be corny. Yeah, obviously.
Of course.
But guess what? Apply it to your life and then come talk to me.
It's like,
Like, apply it
That's
to
fine.
your life and then
Right.
talk shit about it.
if you make fun of people that are working on their lives and trying to make themselves a better version of themselves, and you're not waking up happy and
Yep.
fulfilled, who's really laughing?
Mm-hmm.
Think about that,
Mm-hmm.
douchebags. And listen to the Jason Scalora show, by the way. Yeah. But the last thing I want to talk about too was what we were talking about. I didn't even get to saying this. The example I gave that I was thinking about was, so I had training for my job, as you know, and it was pretty much like 10 to 12 hours every single day for a full week.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing that. I was working out. I had to eat and like do basic stuff of like
Yeah.
shower, shit, shave, like basic stuff. And so any extra time was like gone. Like it was just that and like
Yeah.
work, sleep, and eat. And it was like that for a full week. But I still had to pump out content every day. So I had to wake up an extra 2 hours earlier to exercise and do content. And even then I didn't have enough time to do all my stuff. And I found myself, I was taking a shit in between sessions of training. And I'm editing content on my phone.
Seems like a great time.
I
to do
brought my
that.
AirPods because I was like, okay, I'm going to take a poop break for 10 minutes and I can bang on another 2
Yeah,
pieces
but
of
you
content.
definitely can do that fast.
Right.
So why not do it?
Right.
You're literally
But-
multitasking.
but
and it sounds crazy,
Right.
but it's not.
But my point is
who's gonna do that?
that's the separator.
Yeah,
Are you willing to take a shit and edit content when you have a 12-hour day?
yeah,
If you're not, that's fine. No judgment. But I don't think you're as ambitious as you say you are.
mm-hmm.
Because it sounds so fucking corny for me to say it like blowing smoke up my
Yeah.
ass. But it's like, I know you're not willing to fucking do that.
Mm.
You're not, which is fine. And I don't judge you for it. But it makes me question you when you say you're so fucking ambitious. When you say, watch me, I'll be a millionaire, or I'm going to empower the world. It's like, are you going to empower the fucking world?
Yeah.
It's cute to say it, dude.
Yeah.
You're not willing to do the things that the people are willing to do. Great. Fine. No judgment. But when your actions don't match your ambitions, it's really hard for anyone to believe any words that are coming out of your mouth.
I agree. It's the worst feeling when someone's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay. Like, I just genuinely, and it's sad, and it's like, I don't waste my time anymore like telling people to do things like you say, unless I genuinely feel like they have a spark in them that they're willing to do them. And you can tell a difference.
Do not cast pearls before swine.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, yeah, I'll believe, like, let's talk about it. We'll have this conversation 2 weeks from now when you've been doing this thing you say that you're gonna do.
Yeah, I love that.
We'll talk about it then.
I love that. Yeah.
That's my new thing, actually.
Yeah.
Like, especially with the gym.
Don't talk to me about working out until you've done it for a month.
Yeah, especially with the gym. Like, okay, now you've earned my respect.
Yeah.
So, and now I know that you can commit to something or whatever you're doing.
Right. 100%. That's one of the things that...
And it's funny, too, because once you commit to something, especially the gym, people are like, oh, you grow an addiction. If you actually try in the gym and you actually go, you will actually see results. And those actual results are what's going to motivate you to do more.
My baseline for my clients is I give them some sort of task. The first session that we have after after our consultation is I give them some sort of small task, like make your bed every day and send me a picture of it made every single day. And if they don't do that for the first week, I tell them straight up, I'm like, if I don't see that you're consistent, we're not working together. I don't want your money because you're not ready for whatever it is that you think you want to make as a change in life. Because if you can't make your bed every day, you don't have a spark in you to stay consistent, which is fine. No judgment, but I don't want to waste my time and I don't want to waste yours, nor do I want to take your money for services that I actually can't give you.
Right.
So it's like, if you're not the type of person that can stay consistent with things, don't expect yourself to build some magical habit overnight.
Yeah.
Don't expect yourself to be super ambitious. Stop telling people that you have some crazy goals to change the world. Because if you can't keep your room in check, if you can't work out 3 days a week or whatever the fuck it is that you are the small keystone habits of your life, I don't want to hear you saying that you're going to be a millionaire, you're going to be super successful, you're going to change the world. Because how am I supposed to buy that when you can't even make your bed every morning? It doesn't make any sense.
No, I agree.
All right. I think it's a good place to wrap this up.
I think so.
Oh. Ah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to episode number 21 of the Jason Scalora Show. Back again with Kirsten Raynock.
Yeah, that's how you say it.
Now on TikTok. Woo, 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 woo. If you haven't seen the other episode with Kirsten, I think it was episode 19. You'll scroll down, you'll see her pretty face. Where can they find you, Kirsten Raynock?
I have to be like Jason now and be like, Instagram and TikTok, Kirsten Mary Raynock.
Spell that out.
No, it's actually just Kirst Mary Raynock. So KirstMaryRaynock.
Okay, for those of you that actually understood her, hopefully you find it. If not, link is below. Peace, love, happiness. Stay handsome. Love yourself because I love you. Peace.